You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Well, hey everyone, it's the BQN Hive Mind back for Warp Me. It's me, Davey, and I'm joined today by Amy Nelson. Hey Amy, how are you?
Well, hello there. I'm doing okay, surviving, trying to at least here in America. But,
It's a global feeling at the moment.
Yeah, okay, good. But I was just so excited in our Discord server. I was like, come on, let's talk Trek because that's much happier.
Yes. Let's talk Trek. Do you know what? I've been talking about far too many other things this week that do not bring me anywhere near as much joy. So, Amy and I, let's make a little pinky swear to each other right now that for at least the next hour, the only thing we talk about is the joy of Star Trek. How does that sound?
Very good.
Pinky swear.
Pinky
there we go. That side. Anyone listening to the audio replay of this has no idea what's going on. So for the uninitiated out there, the BQN Hive Mind is a regular program where we invite our network patrons, many of whom are busy today because we organised this quite last minute, but we organise them to come on the show with us and have an unscripted, informal chat about whatever's going on in Star Trek right now. And of course, what's going on in Star Trek right now is the final season of our beloved Lower Decks. Aww.
Oh, I know.
It's so sad to see it go.
It is, but I feel with so many things to look forward to, I'm actually okay with it. And sort of as is the trend of short, sweet, and done. Mm-hmm. And then let's move on to another short, sweet, and done. It seems to be the trend of shows these days.
I think so. And I've said to a few people, even though they feel Lower Decks could probably go on forever, these shows have a way of outstaying their welcome sometimes and becoming kind of shadows of what they used to be, especially animated comedies. Like you think of Simpsons, Family Guy, all these shows have been going on for years and years. Does anyone still watch them? I bet maybe they're still making them. But we'll have 5 beautiful, wonderful seasons of Lower Decks where I think there's been so many highs that outweigh the lows. I could barely call out a low. Peanut hamper.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you feel the same way? Have we had a good quality 5 seasons? Well, so far.
Yes, absolutely. And learning to laugh at yourself, that's what Lower Decks has really taught me to do. And the deep cuts where I think I'm a fan, I'm like, what is that? Oh, they're even deeper. It's so lovely. And I am going to be sad. I'm not animation type of person. Like I don't watch Simpsons or any of those things that you listed. That's just not in my wheelhouse. But this one definitely was.
100%. And a lot of people kind of had to be won over by Lower Decks when it started because having animated Star Trek, I mean, apart from TAS, which is a thing that happened, a lot of people weren't. There was a mental barrier to kind of get over of having to watch a animated Star Trek comedy. I think it came along at the perfect time when there was a lot of divisiveness in the fandom around what was the creative direction of new Star Trek. Plus, I know Mike McMahon really sort of launched it early, or as early as he possibly could during the pandemic in 2020 because he felt we needed something to cheer us up. And my God, was he right. I remember season 1 launching in 2020 when Melbourne was in the depths of one of its strictest, longest lockdowns. And every Friday night, so we were allowed to have a little single bubble then. This is before I met Anthony. And we could, if you had another single person living by themselves, you could visit each other as long as you weren't living too far away from each other. So a good friend of mine, Glenn, who's been on Trexburst before, we would every Friday night, I would ride my bike to his house after I finished working from home. We would make margaritas, really strong margaritas, and we would watch Lower Decks. And it was just, it was just that thing I looked forward to every single week. It was such a nice memory, and that's why it's got such a special place in my heart.
Yes, very true. Oh, that's a lovely story. Thank you for sharing.
It's okay. It's okay. Hey, we've got some people in the chat. I can see Jez is in there. That's Jerry Antimano, one of our network patrons who was unable to join us live here, but he's in the chat. So, hey, Jez, good to see you. Anyone else in the chat, feel free to chat along and share your own thoughts as we go through this. Remember as well, if you would like to be a part of any future Hive Minds or any of the other fun stuff we do on BQN for our network patrons, head over to patreon.com/BQN. We offer up a lot, even just for the minimum paid tier. Please join us. Please join us.
Yes.
Amy, before we jump into Lower Decks, there's some other Trek news I think that we need to touch on. So, for those who have not seen, and it might be hard not to if you live in our little Trek social media bubble, Tony Todd passed away on November 6th, just a few days ago. So Tony Todd, he was horror movie buffs will know Tony Todd as Candyman. It's how a lot of people know him as Candyman, and from movies like The Final Destination. But he was like the guest star to have in 90s TV. And of course, he played so many characters in Trek. Amy, what is one of your favorite Tony Todd characters or memories?
Yeah, obviously Kern, like absolutely love him playing Worf's brother and that storyline through it. You know, one thing that I saw, and I don't know that because you didn't mention it, but he stars in this movie called The Man from Earth. And it's about a man who lives 1,000 years. Like that's his lifespan.
Yeah.
And have you seen it?
No.
Oh,
Sounds cool,
it
though.
is so good. Yes. And it just really analyzes like the circle of life. And here's this guy is where he has to move through time and how it gets more difficult in this digital age and social media and stuff like that. But I absolutely loved him in that movie. And for me, that's where I see Tony Todd. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to look that up now because that sounds really, really cool. And look, you always know when you've got Tony Todd because, I mean, he plays such a diverse array of characters. Everything from Kern to adult Jake Sisko, which I think was one of his absolutely stellar Star Trek performances. And he's always so different. He always inhabits those characters, but he's still also Tony Todd. That voice, that rich theater, almost like Shakespearean vibrato in his voice sends chills.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was fortunate enough to see him at STLV because he did do some conventions here throughout the years. And I remember, as I do, walking by a table going, oh, look, that's Tony Todd. And of course, didn't approach, but I saw him a couple times at STLV. And, so he loved the fandom and loved us as well. We will miss him.
Absolutely. And just before we move on off of Tony Todd, I'm just looking through his IMDb credits. going right back to the 90s, which is when I remember kind of first seeing him. I mean, he was in MacGyver, he was in Night Court, he was, whoops, I just accidentally clicked on one of the things he was in. He was in Xena, he was in Hercules, he was in Babylon 5, he was in pretty much all of the Final Destination films. And the list, The Crow. So he's well known amongst horror buffs because he just said it has popped into a lot of those. Stargate, SG-1, video games, cartoon
Stargate,
shows,
that's right.
Angel, Charmed. It's incredible the amount of things that he's been in. So yes, Vale, Tony Todd, you will be missed, but never forgotten. And thank you so much for all of the wonderful, amazing hours of entertainment you've brought us in Trek and in general. Moment of silence. Okay. Got that out of the way. I promised things weren't going to get too sad today. Let's jump into Lower Decks Season 5. Amy, how are you enjoying it so far?
I'm going to be a little honest with you. I don't know if it's because there's been so much time lapse, but I feel like I'm enjoying it less than I did last season. And I just feel like 3 and 4, and especially 4, was just every episode I remember laughing. And these past 2 weeks, it's just been okay for me. So how has this season been for you?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm feeling a little bit of bittersweetness. Like it's not hitting quite as well as I'm used to it. And I don't know if that's because there's just so much other distracting stuff going on, which we promised we would not talk about. But I'm finding it hard to kind of almost find the joy a little bit. I'm enjoying it. I'm absolutely, I'm enjoying it. But yes, in past seasons, I've watched episodes multiple times in the week that they launch because it's so easy to watch, and it's always been this kind of comfort food. And I've also got a lot going on in my personal life as well. I run 50 podcasts.
Planning a wedding.
I've just starting a new
job.
Exactly. Plus, my darling fiance needs to be entertained at all moments in time. So you'll appreciate this. He's in the next room writing his end of year school reports. So that. So that's why he's I'm allowed to sneak away to do a little bit of this right now. But yeah, no, I agree. And it's not that it's not good. I feel that there's, and I don't know, maybe this is not a Lower Decks thing. Maybe this is just a rest of the world kind of thing.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, that could be it. And here is someone who is definitely going to have an opinion on this, who's just joined us at the last minute. Christos, hello.
Hello there.
So good to see you. How have you been?
I know. I feel like I haven't seen either one of you in like forever. So,
well,
hello.
Quick recap. We just went through some of our favorite Tony Todd moments, and now we're just doing a bit of a general. Hey, how are we finding Lower Decks Season 5 so far? Amy and I were actually just saying it's not landing quite as well for us as it has in past years because there's just so much else going on in the world right now and in our lives, and it's a little hard to kind of find the silliness and the joy in it. How are you finding it so far?
I mean, it's okay. I kind of feel the same way you guys do. You know, I will say Lower Decks was never my favorite show.
Okay.
I enjoy some of the deep cuts and some of the references, but it's a bit repetitive to me. And, and I think had they maybe skipped last season and moved ahead with the character development that we're getting a little bit now, but I got worn out last season, I think. I think it was too many. It was, especially with the Mariner. How many times is Mariner going to have a setback and, go from all good to back to being all disheveled again and needing to learn lessons? And so in Boimler, same thing. It's like, okay, we get it. You got to get you're confident. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I think they're not. Maybe the development's not happening fast enough, and that's why I get a little bit bored with it.
Yeah. It's interesting because you've got essentially what is a sitcom, for want of a better description. It's a workplace comedy was how it was kind of originally described. And they're trying to sort of tread that line between a sitcom where characters just hit the same beats and jokes and character traits over and over again every week, and you laugh, oh, that's how Boimler, with actually having some really good character progression. And hey, maybe that's why it's good that they're ending where they are now, because I can kind of see what you're saying there a little bit, Christos. So yeah, we are seeing a lot of the same things. Are you noticing that, Amy?
I like I said.
Yeah, and that's interesting you brought it up because and that we're talking about, because you're right. You look at season 1 and it's exactly like what you were saying. It's just this episode and you can watch them in any order pretty close, and it's the same things, your tropes of your sitcom, and you're not going to age. It's just whenever. But I feel like this season now they're like too fast progressing these characters, where it's like, okay, they're each going off on their little own. I love the different ways that they're grouping, but like the facial hair on Boimler, and it's like all of a sudden he's getting facial hair, and I don't know. I feel like they know this is the last season, and so they're gonna just wrap up everything and have the biggest arcs. And I feel like that might be a little too fast for me because I got used to the slow pace.
Yeah, Boimler's doing Movember like me. Him and I are just doing the same things.
Yes.
Well, he's trying to be like his alternate universe self that he met in episode 1, and he stole the pad and all that stuff. So he still has that, and yeah, it's okay. I know there's a lot planned for this season. There's supposed to be some big guest stars and big legacy characters and stuff, and I suppose it's all in the second half of the season.
I guess
even,
so.
Yeah, even the last episode is supposed to be several minutes longer than the average episode. So maybe it's going to pick up. I do like that they're a little bit, every episode this season's been a little bit more its own story. And the only thing carrying through is this idea that there's these subspace anomalies that are happening. And but that was barely got mentioned in this week's episode.
Right.
But it was there.
Well, there's probably a good segue there to jump into the first episode as well, which is Dos Cerritos. So basically, this was a parallel mirror universe style episode, and it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed the just the silly, like, little underhanded comments about how the other crew was the alternate universe crew kept referring to the prime universe crew as like the bad Cerritos, the dumb Cerritos, and then they're like, hey, no, we're the primes, you're not the primes.
Yes.
Why are you the primes? It was very cute like that. But let's start with what we liked about the Dos Cerritos. I'll start with you, Christos.
I think it was the stronger episode of the season, so I'll start off with that. So far, of the 4 that we've gotten, I like that they were like, oh, they're only like 0.002 or 3 different than we are. So it wasn't going to be like going to the mirror universe where it was like the upside down or something like that, right? It was very, it's kind of just like that. If you had made a different decision one day or something, a little slight fork in the road kind of situation, and seeing how they turned out. So they weren't dramatically different, but they were different enough. And I did like the whole, no, we're the prime, you're the prime. You get out of my,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there were some fun things about that. I don't think we're seeing as much of, with the exception of maybe Ransom, we haven't seen a ton of the rest of the crew this year. Like, I don't even think the doctors had any lines this whole season. Am I wrong? I mean, like,
very few. Yeah.
Yeah. I liking like Talin is like almost like one of the 5, although she wasn't on this week. I was actually thinking there's 5 of them now, and then she wasn't even in this week's episode. But anyway, so I I really enjoyed the Dos Cerritos.
How about you, Amy?
Yeah, when I think of TNG parallels, and that is a story that's told just through Worf's eyes. And you get to see all the different types of Worfs that there could be. And I think Lower Decks just took that and applied it to every character, which I found so interesting that, okay, Mariner's the forceful one, and Boimler. See, now I'm not going to list them all, but I like that they showed, Boimler was the confident one.
Yep.
And so you're getting to see the difference, not just all, this is the mirror universe. This is this one kind of universe. Like we're getting it throughout. And like that variety was fresh. And so I liked that episode. I agree. It's the strongest of the episodes so far.
Did you like it, Davey?
Yeah, it was I agree. It was a good opener, and it was filled with lots of fun little character moments. I loved that, that the Captain Mariner was the, she'd gone down the straight and narrow path, but she really wanted to go back to being the rebellious lieutenant, and the little switcheroo that she tried to do.
Becky Freeman.
Yeah, Becky Freeman.
Yeah.
There was some really funny moments with that had me cackling, like some of the episodes haven't. Like there's a bit where she comes on screen to try and convince like the Prime Universe captain that, it's really her, and she's like, I already know. She goes, Mom, it's me. Last week you asked me to look at that mole, and she's like, I know. Like, I already know it's you. Those are the little joke, like those little fast jokes in Lower Decks, I think is when it does its best work. The element of it that is, I think, maybe a little bit more interesting in terms of like it or not is the Tendi subplot. So I feel like at the end of each season of Lower Decks, one of them's disappeared for one reason or the other. Boimler's done it. I'm pretty sure Mariner's done it. Captain Freeman did it. Like it's yeah. And now it's sort of Tendi's turn to have a little multi-episode arc to finding themselves and then eventually coming back. And for me, this is the part of it that was kind of just okay, and it's the beat that's kind of gotten hidden on. Like it was fun. Don't be wrong. I kind of like the sort of like like, hey, the Orions don't have to be like evil pirates. We can have what was it? She called it in the second episode, the mutiny, a cutiny, or what was it?
Oh yeah, cutiny,
yeah, or something like that. Yeah. So that was probably. That was the part of it that was just kind of like, yeah, it's okay, but it tied in nicely with the, that kind of will they, won't they, with Rutherford, with the alternate Rutherford going, like having deleted all these memories of Tendi and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that part of it, I could take or leave. I don't know. How did you guys feel about the Tendi B plot for the first 2-3 episodes? Who has to go first?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I enjoyed it while I was watching it. And I love that we get this backstory with Tendi and the Orions. And I love that we're building off like the scientists from these old scientists, that crossover. And, we don't have to always be pirates. And, we can use strategy in our mind to, get the ship or, get this. And so I like it because it's showing us, if we can take a different path, and could be more difficult, but we can take a different path. So I guess I liked it for that. What about you, Christos?
I think it just hit me why maybe we're burning out a little bit on Lower Decks as you were talking, Amy. The show is, for 5 years now, has been literally trying so hard to do these references to Star Trek, right? And in the beginning, it's cute and funny, right? But I mean, even like, okay, now we get to do the Orion episode, so we can do the Blue Orions and call them the Orions, and all these little things that are being done. Like we have to reference every last little piece of the Star Trek universe. and to an extent, maybe it's being done at the, the behest of the story, like we're just trying so hard to make references. And in the beginning that was great, but I think maybe that gimmick is getting old, and that could be another reason why sounds like we're getting a little bit of Lower Decks fatigue. But that it's like, if we just told stories and worried less about, well, okay, we have to go make a big reference to the animated series again, which it wasn't that popular. We have to reference the animated series. It was, over before I was ever born.
Yeah. It's funny.
Maybe that's it, but
I'm on IMDb at the moment, and there is the first review just says the show feels very dragged out at this point.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be, I guess. I'm not saying, yes, if it's going to keep going this way, maybe it's okay that we're wrapping up this season, but they could have just focused it on it being an animated show and move forward with missions. But I think it goes out of its way to go figure out what nook from the Star Trek universe that we can go find. I mean, yeah, I'll stop there because I've almost started talking about the fourth episode.
I think talking about the Tendi subplot is a good place to jump into the second episode, because it's more of a little bit more of the A plot, I think, in this episode. The A and B plots seem to be getting a fair, even amount of time, I'm finding, in this, but in Shades of Green, this is where we have the big race to help stop the conflict that Tendi has started, because basically she acquired that ship in the first episode through non-Orion kind of means, and that got the Blue Orions pissed off. I mean, I personally found the presence of the Blue Orions quite funny. And everyone going, yes, they're canon now. That was that part.
And that's from animated, right?
Yeah, that's how they looked in the animated series. They were blue and had the goggles and the green suits. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Orion being said versus Orion and things like that.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. It's just I don't know. Like I said, we're going out of our way, and they got the really dark green ones from TOS and Discovery. And it's okay, I get it. We're kind of showing, different, maybe ethnic backgrounds of the Orions or the Orions, but I don't know. Like I said, do we have to, keep referencing ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other sorry, go
ahead. Oh yeah, I was gonna jump to the other plot with Tendi being an aunt. I was like, oh yay, because I'm an aunt. I'm Aunt Amy. So I really felt for her, and she was trying to protect, but again, it's just this trope of miscommunication, folly of errors, hijinks ensue. But it was cute.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a cute, lighthearted episode, I feel like. And then the flip one on this one is what the other society that has they're demonetizing, or So
I love that.
Kind of comes
I had a hard time with that part. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yes, because Starfleet is going to give all this wealth, albeit not wealth to that civilization, but wealth to one family who is very well influenced in that culture. I mean, this is Klingons and Worf and disaccommodation all over again. That is Starfleet putting the thumb on this family's money, ergo power and wealth within a non-federation. Exactly. It's a non-federation species.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's an example of when the joke sometimes goes against the Star Trek law, because the joke was really, well, hey, guess what? They've given up on capitalism, whatever. Take this absolutely useless thing to us, and
right,
because you had all those jokes running along through it, like they were, converting the banks into aquariums and art galleries and all this kind of stuff, which was funny.
I think it's that whole nepotism, wink, wink. We did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there was some funny attempts at sort of social commentary through through that whole story of the planet giving up on capitalism and the
Yeah.
ultra rich people who were trying to cling on to it, but they didn't really have the resources or the know-how to be like terrorists or anything like that,
Yes.
so they had to reprogram their gardening robots to be their guards. Like, I will prune you.
Yes.
I thought that was quite those are the little things, like I said in the previous episode, the whole thing with the mole and all that. Like, it's those little kind of moments that kind of make me giggle in Lower Decks. But Christos, I think those jokes now are coming. They used to be at the expense of Star Trek itself. Now those references are a little bit more in your face, and the quick humor comes at just normal kind of slapstick sitcom-esque kind of humor, I guess.
Yeah. There was the Boimler leading the away team, and then his ensigns got lost or something like that, and it's just like you wouldn't
Taken.
taken, right? Yeah, but that happens all the time, and we're so busy because so many people are being taken right now that we can't do something about it.
Mhm.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
What was it? Pointers? Was that what that was?
yeah.
Boimler's pointers.
Those are cute.
Yeah. I mean,
And then in the end, it's like, oh, we used your pointers to, that's why they were alive. And I loved it.
I did like the running gag of Boimler constantly talking through Mariner's communicator.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's like, hey,
Do you need
you
a
guys,
communicator?
let me send one down. You guys are using the same communicator now. Good job. It's so funny. Yeah. That always takes me back to a joke in the very first season where Mariner quickly taps the thing and goes, "Emergency site-to-site transport, authorization code, something or other." And the person replies and goes, "That's not a real code. Who the hell is this?" That was, little stuff like that always kind of cracks me up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think they're going back to the Tendi as well. I liked I liked the sail ships, the solar sail ships coming in, and that was how they were doing the Great Race. That was fun. That was
Yeah.
Something we've seen in Star Trek before, but nice to see it again.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's jump into the next episode, which, I don't know, this episode and the episode that just was on this week are probably competing for my least favorite, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So the best exotic nanite hotel.
Right.
So we had...
This is Jennifer.
This
right?
is Jennifer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The return of Jennifer. I think for the sake of the return of Jennifer, for no reason whatsoever.
Well, and I was thinking, she was only in the background a few times last season. She never, had any lines. And so I think it was this funny gag of, okay, well, we never really closed that up, so let's go do it now. But I don't know that it needed to happen at that point. I think, okay, we moved on.
Well, but I feel like, to my point at the beginning, where I was like, they're making leaps and bounds, and, Mariner's growing up. They're all gonna be perfect, ideal officers at the end. Like, that's sort of where I see this going, and they're learning. And it's, I think, a great thing to tell society of this: stop ghosting everyone. Just stop it. Have the maturity and say, I'm done. Gonna move on. Wish you the best. It's me, not you, right? Whatever needs to happen, but why ghost? That's just one. I don't think it says more about you than it does the other person. Let's just leave it at that.
I'm gonna have to follow my sword and say I have both ghosted and been ghosted at some point. I'm not necessarily proud of it, but I have a very funny story, even just from yesterday. I went into a Big W store, which is like a Kmart, to buy a particular video game. And as I walked in, I saw this person tending to the Christmas section, and I'm like, oh, that person's really familiar. Now, this was someone many years ago, pre-Anthony, obviously, I went on a few dates with, and just kind of fizzled out. I don't know. I don't want to say I ghosted, but contact just kind of became something that fizzled out. Yeah. And I remember this person was a little upset about it. And there was this awkward moment where we kind of looked at each other and it was like, oh, yeah, it's you. And then I went into the tech section, picked up my video game, went to the counter because they have to, they keep all the games in drawers under the counter. And the person who was supposed to be at that station wasn't there. And I could see this person I dated looking at me, and he's a manager there. So he couldn't just leave me standing around. And he's walked up, he's got his little communicator thing. He's like, Jason, you have a customer at the tech desk. You're on your break. Hi. And it was so awkward. Then I was paying with a gift card, and the gift card wouldn't work. And I was like, I was in the back of my mind, oh dear. So
beam me out, somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm having my
similarly
Jennifer moment. Sorry, go, Christos.
Yes.
Like 2 weeks ago, I was at the Orville Peck concert here in San Diego, and I'm with my friend, and we're kind of standing around. Actually, we were there for the meet and greet, and so we're just kind of hanging around, and then suddenly these two guys walking toward me, and I'm like, I know those guys. And then I'm like, shit, I know those guys. And it's too late at that point. Kind of similar situation. Yeah, you're like, there's nowhere to go. Hi.
Yeah. So there you go. Maybe there was an interesting message in the Jennifer story, which we maybe kind of overlooked just out of our kind of rolling our eyes that Jen was back. But it's something maybe we've all maybe done to a certain degree in our dating lives. The other story we had was Boimler's story, which was this was an odd one to me, where they're on the mission to bring the Admiral back to Starfleet. And I was listening to Where's Beverly the other day, and they were sort of saying like, this is really leaning into that whole Starfleet as the military thing. He's a deserter, and they've gone to drag him back into the military, kicking and screaming. I don't know. Did any Amy, Christos, did either of you get that?
Totally. And the other aspect of that is they make it sound like if you're unhappy in Starfleet, you can, change it, especially you can change things, right? Especially if they're, not at war or wherever, like this guy's an unhappy admiral. He could resign. He could ask for a transfer. They make it sound like that happens all the time. Not, I have to like go hide and go AWOL, basically,
right,
military term, to try to solve the problem.
Yeah. It does bring to the point, not everyone gets to be the Enterprise D. Sometimes you're the Cerritos, right? You sort of do your time, I'm hoping, but you don't want people doing these jobs that are miserable. So, I feel like Starfleet, and by then would have this nice rotation. Everyone's well trained. Everyone knows you move around until you get until you get Enterprise D status. But until then,
hey, everyone's got to start on an O-berth class.
Yes.
Exactly. I think that's been a running gag throughout all of Lower Decks, is that, there are things that just ships like the Enterprise do. There's that episode where they meet the Vancouver class vessel, and the guy wants to transfer to the Cerritos. He's like, oh my God, it's so epic here all the time. I just want a normal life. Which is always kind of raises the point where, like, even watching shows like Voyager, I'm like, these are some high stress lives to have to live.
Right? Yes. Put me on the Cerritos.
But in general, how did we find Boimler's whole journey in this episode? Because it was really, it started with this whole joke that he thought that Ransom just wanted to use him as cannon fodder, basically. But really, Ransom was like, no, you're a good officer. Personally, I felt like the whole cannon fodder thing wasn't landing for me quite
Yeah.
so well. I mean, I appreciate it. Like, I love Boimler. I think he's adorable, and I love that he's kind of getting this weird little confidence about him. But it was an odd way to kind of do it. Christos, how did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of thinks he's the red shirt of the mission, right?
Mm.
And I think we were probably a joke that they could have used, and it would have been a little funnier. But like, yeah, and it turns out once again, no, we think you're a good officer, and we trust you, and we want you because you're prepared and you're ready, and it's a good thing that you got picked for this mission, which is what he starts off thinking until that other guy got in his head. But yeah, I think that's also a thing, though, that after 5 years and he's got promoted now, the self-confidence has to kick in at some point. And maybe that's the journey of this season, is through his, doppelganger giving him or him taking that pad. I don't know, but he needs to be like settle into his own skin and just be confident that he knows his stuff, and he knows his value.
Yeah.
You know what I loved about this storyline, probably because it really hits home to me, is when you are going to be the worst critic of yourself, like we just are. And when you feel like, oh, I'm not good at this one thing, and then it's like, oh, exemplified when you're chosen to be on this away mission. And so he's feeling very inadequate, imposter syndrome, all of that. But it's that stringiness. What was that? The descriptor word? The lanky? Was that the word they were using? Yeah.
Something
But
similar to
once
that. I can't remember.
Yeah. Once he leaned into that, and where it's like he felt, again, I'm putting this Amy perspective. Oh, my body type is this skinny, scrawny thing. That's not what I want or that I see others. But yet that's the thing, one of the reasons why he was chosen, like his lankiness. And so when he puts on sunscreen and slips away and saves everyone, like, lean into what you think is your weakness, because it's probably what others recognize as your strength. And I love that life lesson. If we can lean into that, it's going to only make us better and greater.
Well, it's kind of like that whole you do you, and love yourself. That there's accept who you are. We say that so many different ways and so many different times, but it's true.
Yeah.
I love how you framed that, Amy, because it's almost like the imposter syndrome kind of thing, which I know has haunted me my entire career, because I feel like my day job is one which is full of very serious people who are, I feel, infinitely more smarter than me and all that kind of stuff. And I'm always a little bit more lighthearted and not as panicky and a little bit more pragmatic. But then I've found, like, from leaving like my most recent job, people have been like, oh my God, all these things that I thought made me deficient, they came out and said, these are all the things that we loved about working with you, and why it was so much better compared to some other people that we've worked with who have your job title in other organizations. And I'm like, oh, so okay.
Huge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really better. I'm sure we've all felt a little bit of imposter syndrome at some point in our careers.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and then like you get this relief, and it's like, gosh, why was I worried so much? And it's this weight, and just blooming into yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, that similar lessons, and right there, kind of tying back to the episode, when I finally figured out just being myself instead of trying to tone myself down or be what I think people want me to be or what I need to be. But I've had more success in being myself than I ever had at trying to conform or fit in or blend in or pass.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we jump onto the last episode, I just wanted to point out Jez's comments in the chat about our earlier discussion around everything being so epic. He says, give me an assignment on a small Nova or Saber-class starship patrolling the least hostile part of the Alpha Quadrant. I'd be a happy chappy who needs the constant stress of a defiant Voyager Enterprise. As long as I have a holodeck, gym, and a replicator, and a window in my quarters, I'd be set. You know, that's my Star Trek dream too, Jez. Just a nice cruise through the unknown, getting to see some cool stuff without necessarily having my life and the existence of all humanity come into question every few weeks.
Yeah, right.
One little point I'd like to make about this third episode that I really liked was I liked Talin's story in that episode. I love that she was kind of fangirling but only in a way that a Vulcan could. Yeah, I was really it was more a little bit more of a glance into the character, and I do like Talin's character. So I think she's like Savick meets Valaris in some ways. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and she's faded into the background, which is kind of a point you made earlier, Christos, because I'd completely forgotten that she was even in this episode, and she had actually quite a fun little role to play with that whole fangirling thing. Even in the earlier episode, we didn't mention where the whole thing where she's trying to get along with Rutherford, and she puts the shuttlecraft. The shuttlecraft's finally finished, but then she destroys it again, so that Tendi and Rutherford can have the joy of starting from scratch. Like,
yeah,
that was another really good part that I felt was a life lesson. Counselor Amy's in the house, by the way.
Here she is. Yeah.
Like, I love that Talin is so logical, and she fixed up the shuttlecraft and was like, what's my logic? Like, why are you upset? And then the real purpose, the purpose wasn't to fix the shuttlecraft. The real purpose comes out, which she missed. And she immediately was like, oh, my logic is flawed. I'm not going to be mad at you for getting mad at me. I misunderstood. And like, she took ownership. And it's like, all of us can learn that better, where it's like, why are you mad at me? No, why go inward with that? Where was my logic wrong? Why did I make an assumption? Right. And if we can, I loved that part with Talin and Rutherford.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I think Lower Decks does really well. It is peppered with these very cute character moments. And it's one of the things that makes it stand out. And I've often thought this about sitcoms and animated comedies, shows like Schitt's Creek and stuff like that, where you've got these OTT characters, but there's always a bit of heart behind it. And I think that's when comedy like this is really at its best. Not when it's like mean for the sake of being mean or rude for the sake of being rude, but like you actually like these characters, and you get these little moments like that, which just and when you put it like that, Amy, it reminds me just how much I do love these characters. Aww. Final episode so we're halfway through the season, so just in a few days before we've come to air with this, is A Farewell to Farms, which so now this is one of those ones where I feel like I need to go and watch it again. Two plots going on, very disconnected from each other.
Well, let's just say one is barely watchable, if you want to call it that.
Which one are you talking about?
Miglamoo or whatever, the damn bird, who I don't even like the character to begin with, but the storyline was atrocious.
I didn't understand it. Are they saying that the bird's only purpose for anyone is to be a cook? A chef?
That's kind of like, it's like the pinnacle of their society. Yeah.
Honestly, right? I think they're kind of like the two foodies, it's like one's like supposed to be like, they're like, it's like the trope of the brunchy gay and the the really basic white girl, and
Yeah.
they're kind of playing those tropes.
I'll
And,
believe that later. Don't worry.
um, yeah, like I said, it's cringy. It's cringy because I feel like you're it's like I said, are you making fun of it? Just wasn't landing right.
I feel like it's also the jokes about foodie culture are a little bit on the dated side as well. I feel like that whole explosion of online foodie culture has actually tapered out a little bit because it's become quite expensive for a lot of people to be able to kind of maintain that kind of life. But linking it to the birds, and they've done this before where you've got, the species like the doctor who's a cat, where they play on, the having the tropes of that particular species. So all the ruffling of the feathers and all that kind of thing. I did find it funny that their planet was called Cloaca, but I mean, that was probably the only thing that made me giggle with it. It felt unusual. When the episode started, Christos, I thought that it was going to be one of these like single A plot episodes like they've done before, right? With the Klingons, the different opening, not the usual opening credits, all that kind of stuff.
I wasn't expecting wage douche. Yeah.
Sorry, I cut out for a second.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting a wage douche type episode where, okay, this is not going to be about our characters, but then Mariner shows up, and so it does become about our characters. But I did like that they did the different opening credits. I thought that, and I thought the score through that was also very nice. So I'll give it that. But the brothers were supposed to be very Jean-Luc and his brother. I don't know if you guys were picking up on that, even down to the overalls that the other one was wearing. It was kind of like Jean-Luc's brother. I mean, I thought that there was a lot of parallels.
And they did the blood wine and yeah.
So they were, and of course it's like brothers, right? And that's what brothers do. So I thought they were playing really a lot off of that episode from TNG because
I agree.
With the relationship. But so that was a kind of cute. And I don't know if the Klingon woman in the bar was Mary Chieffo, I think. So that was fun too.
Oh, I did not know that either. Oh, wow.
Me neither.
I do need to watch this episode again.
Glad I showed up.
Yes, because she said that she had mentioned that she was going to come up. So that's one of our guest appearances.
A guest appearance, but it's not like a return character.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit there. It's okay, Mary Chieffo, but I'm glad she's getting more work in Star Trek. But I'd love to see Laurel show up on Strange New World.
Yes.
Amy, do you think that this could have been the whole episode? Like I was saying before, do you think we could have just had a slightly more just a plot episode with just what was going on with Boimler and Mariner on Kronos?
Yeah, I think it would have been better. Well,
I was just going to say, I loved I did like, there was more interesting, more funny stuff happening in this plot. And the recurring gag of Boimler just going through a Klingon phase right now was really, really funny. Like, it's going to be Klingon as hell. And
he's down for anything.
Absolutely. Yes, that was the best part, storyline. And like, again, with the pain sticks, and Boimler getting so excited for every little Klingon experience, like it's like his own theme park. It seemed like that was really cute how they did that. But again, the theme of working together and them climbing on each other to dissipate the electricity and. I really did enjoy that. And then the brother being reluctant, well, I guess I'll do it too, and so it was cute.
Yeah. And what was it? He was making up some of the rituals just to kind of get them to like do like gardening or something.
Like the guy hated him, so he was just being hard. So I probably would have liked this episode, like to your point, Davey, if they had just dropped that B plot, because that's what really was making it painful the other day. But not getting into it, or maybe I was just like not paying attention when it was, the Miggly Moo and his storyline. But it could have been a lot better had it just been a one big A plot that played out a little bit more, maybe involved another character from our main cast.
Well, I just feel like an A and a B plot, there needs to be some kind of link between them. And the only link here was that two of our normal main cast were on Kronos and two of our normal main cast were back on the ship. And there was normally like the same kind of narrative device is happening around them at the same time to drive both plots forward. But and it's been a little bit like that throughout this whole first half of the season. The A and the B plots just don't apart from maybe the episode where they were on the nanite planet, the nanite hotel. They were both on the planet doing the same thing, that kind of stuff. But the rest of them, it's just like, well, there's no. I just feel like I'm watching two different episodes mixed in with each other.
So the only connective tissue that I found was in the characters, Dr. Miglamu and the Klingon captain. They were doubting themselves. And so we're requiring on others to buoy them up and say, yes, you are worth it. You don't have to be a chef. You are a great psychologist. The Klingon, we can work together and we will get you back into being a captain because we believe you're a good captain. So like both those characters were doubting themselves, and that was my only connective tissue. And I, like you, Davey, wanted more like connective in this Lower Decks universe, not this meta.
Yeah. And like with the Miggly Moo storyline, he's like, okay, he's like doubting himself, right? To your point, Amy, and he's not being who society expects him to be. But at the same time, it's like the really toxic. I want these two people who are toxic to like me.
Yeah.
It's like when you want people who are like, it's very high school in a sense of wanting the popular kids who to like you, but the popular kids are awful people,
Or these people saying that this food is not good. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you literally are wrong. What is that called? Gaslighting.
Yeah. And Freeman's like involved with this too. Like,
yeah.
There was a slight bit of satisfaction in how they turned the Miggly Moo plot around at the end. That part did make me laugh when they eat the oysters and like they are literally shit. Like we replace them with shit, and because you're back on your home planet, you're like, oh, delicious. That was funny. Okay, if anything's even remotely saved it, I thought it was that.
Right, but when we have to resort to potty humor for it to finally be funny,
yeah,
I'm not doing so hot.
Yeah, fair enough. A few little things to sort of take this one out is the links to whatever broader thing is happening. So we find out that these anomalies, someone is making them. Dun, dun, dun. Mm-hmm. And we get a few more references to Starbase 80, which has come up in Lower Decks before, but it's come up every single episode so far. Have we heard about Starbase 80 in Star Trek before, Lower Decks?
Yeah. No, before Lower Decks? I don't think so. I think that's the Lower Decks creation. I thought you were going to say before. I'm like, didn't know where they're going to send Freeman off to at one point?
Yeah. I was trying to remember if it was the starbase that Admiral Riker was stationed at in Imzadi, because I only read that for the first time recently. And I remember
memory out, I can tell you.
Yeah. So something's coming up with Starbase 80 next week, because that's the title of next week's episode. Starbase 80. Yeah. So go, Christos.
Okay, I just did a memory alpha and Starbase 80. The only references are in Lower Decks.
There we go.
Okay.
Where these rifts are going, I think, and there's going to be more of them, obviously, and they're obviously can be in different space and time and whatnot. I think it's going to mesh us with another show, maybe potentially in another timeline. If I were guessing, and just completely Christos's feelings, I have a feeling we're going to see some Enterprise people.
Okay.
Oh.
because that's where Lower Decks would go. Somewhere that fandom would just go crazy over, and then that would be a big pleaser.
And we have
Justice
heard
for Enterprise.
we have heard of some interesting leaks about there's cameos that have been shown in the trailers, but then there's some cameos which have been accidentally leaked by some actors which I won't name here because I don't want to spoilers for people who potentially avoid those kind of things. But Amy, where do you think it might be going?
Wow. I have learned in knowing Christos to listen to what he says.
He's good,
More
yeah.
often than not. Yes. You are in tune, Christos. So, and I also listen to Calvin, who is my host on the view screen. And one thing that he likes about Lower Decks is that he pointed out that they used a star date and that the Lower Decks is connecting these, post Voyager shows together. And he really likes that. So if they could, I don't know, the time thing, they could just jump around and sort of connect all the shows. And we get a Starfleet Academy because that's sort of the next one to come out. I don't know.
Yeah. I heard what he had said, I think, on Viewscreen last week about it starting to be right to where Prodigy starts is where we're finishing with Lower Decks.
Right.
So there's that. But like I said, my money's kind of bigger that it's going to hit somebody in a different timeline, we're not timeline, but different part of history. Right. So whether it's going to be Discovery, whether it's going to be something, from TNG or which I think has been done. So I don't think they're going to go there. I think it's going to be like Enterprise or something like that. Something that's going to be like, wow, people are going to go nuts over.
Yeah, Peter from Trek Book Club in the chat, before you even said it, just said a big yay if we return to Enterprise, which could be cool because Peter, there could be an opportunity there to maybe right some of the wrongs of the ending of Enterprise, maybe.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That could be cool. I think the Starbase 80 thing, I'm prepared for that to be a bit anticlimactic. I don't know. Really, I think it's just going to be some awful Starbase with awful people, and that's going to be the whole joke. Yeah. It's just not going to be anything overly. It could. I'm willing to be surprised.
Yeah.
Well, is that where those bank of evil computers are? Is that Starbase?
No, that was in the Daystrom Institute, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. That's Daystrom. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't surprise me if we don't not see them again. I think we will. Oh, sorry, we will see them again.
Can we not? Yeah, I'm done with them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no.
Jeffrey Combs aside, we love Jeffrey Combs, but we don't need. He can come do something. Come do another character.
Yes,
come be way you. Yeah. So that kind of being said, we know we're getting Harry Kim. That was very out there in the trailer. But if you guys could have a cameo from somebody here in the next 6 episodes, who would you want it to be?
Oh.
Just like, what is your what gratuitous desire there?
Pulaski. Not that she ever will, but
if they actually did Crusher and Pulaski together, like in a non-threatening way, I might like that.
Yeah,
bring them both on together.
Justice for Pulaski.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Gosh, there's just so many and to choose from.
Pulaski.
Gosh,
Dempsey loves you now, Davey.
Yeah.
We've already had Troy, so I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The whole Parthenon that you can kind of choose from, and because we've had Prodigy, like I would normally say Wesley, but I got like all of like my Wesley dreams come true in Prodigy. Like that was I could not have wished for a better extension of his character, even if he was a little bit too much like Doctor Who. But it was it was nice to have him back.
True.
Yeah. You can't pick one, Amy?
Okay, I did have. What if we had a crossover between Lower Decks and Prodigy?
Oh,
that'd be cute.
To have the two animation styles together. Like, what if they ran into Doll?
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. Or have like similarly to what you did with, or what we did with Strange New Worlds, like one would have to conform to the other,
Right, yeah,
You'd have to see it slightly redrawn.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
In fact, you would have to, because it's a completely different style of anime,
Yeah,
completely
it
different
is. It
artists
would
that
be
work on
awesome.
Prodigy and
Yeah.
whatnot.
I mean, I doubt they'll do it because Prodigy got so old, we're not
Yeah,
talking about that,
yeah.
but
I know. And that's been this kind of the sad thing as well. This is the third trek that's ended this year. Like, because was Discovery this year? Discovery was this year, wasn't it?
Yep. Discovery
it was.
ended, Prodigy.
God, what has
Yeah.
happened to this year? What has happened to this year? Seriously.
I'm definitely doing a lot of rewatching again, because there's not obviously hasn't been a ton of new Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading, right? So I've been really diving into the Trek books, old and new. Christos has got something to show us.
Yeah,
because it's a nice way to.
In our chat the other day, but I'm like, I'm all about this.
And so I just finished this one, the Pliable Truths, which I just.
I'm gonna talk to him. He just started following me on Instagram last night.
Dayton Ward?
So I'm going to ask him if we can talk about this book.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's so nice.
I want to talk to him about that book, because that's a great book.
Yeah. We need to get him on a BQN show, Dayton, if you're watching. Listening.
Let's do that.
Peter?
Yeah. Well, actually, we
did try to get him on View Screen, but he couldn't make it for. I know.
What a shame.
Well, Pliable
maybe
Truth
season
is a really
3.
Cool book.
But yes, so my point being is I'm reading a lot more of the books. One, because it's Anthony and I are very, very busy. I don't get a lot of time to sort of sit down and binge watch anymore, and he's not a big Star Trek fan, so I don't have it on in the background as much. But reading the books has just been a really nice way to find new Trek stories and adventures, and some of them are really, really quite good.
Yeah.
I've been reading those, and I've been reading a lot of I get Star Trek magazine, but I don't always get a chance to read it, because there's articles in there, and then there are stories. There's a lot of short stories. So I've been kind of reading some of those, because they're great. They're little short stories. And there's even a digital supplement that goes with that as well. And there's more short stories. So little adventures here and there. Kind of some of them are very recent stories, like Picard season 3 takeoffs and things like that.
Yeah. I've been reading Nana Visitor's Open Channel book, still working through that. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I need to get that.
It's great the way she did that book, in the sense that you can take it in chunks.
Yes.
You want to go read about one actor, one actress, one character, you can do that, versus just cover to cover.
And she makes a good point that it's like, it's not really a story about Star Trek. It's a story about Hollywood through the Star Trek lens, and like how it shaped society, it just really is very well put together, and it's purposeful. That's what I like about the book.
Yeah. One final thing I'll say on stories. You mentioned short stories there, Christos. If you ever get over to Archive of Our Own, there's some great Star Trek fan fiction, including a lot written by our own MC Froders from Trexperts, who writes a series of fanfic set in the Kelvin universe, which is about Spock and Michael Burnham growing up together, but in the Kelvin universe. Like
wow.
But fan fiction is you got to sift through some stuff there, but there is some great stuff to find in fanfic, which just explores all kinds of things that maybe you never even thought possible. So there we go. Well, I think that's kind of the time that we have today. So thank you both so much for joining. Amy, we kept our pinky swear. We we stayed on topic.
We did. Oh goodness.
So, Amy, what have you got coming up? We've got the season finale of The View Screen very soon.
Yes. Season finale, season 2, The View Screen. So come back to YouTube Sunday morning, 9 a.m., 5 p.m. UK time. And we are going to, it's going to be a great show. We always end with trivia with Jim, so a patron of the network. So we have our little trivia. We are getting Joe Keegan on to do us another cocktail because he did from season 1. And we are also having Christian Carter with his collectibles since Christmas is coming up. So some lovely Star Trek things to purchase. And of course, we will always have Kristen with the news. So full show tomorrow. I'm very excited.
It's my coffee time.
Mhm.
Perfect.
It's so good. I was just saying to Amy before we came on air that I don't, because you guys go live at like 4 o'clock Monday morning for me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I have an hour drive to work and an hour drive home. So I listen to, on a Monday morning, I listen to the first hour of View Screen on my way to work and the second hour on my way home.
So the fun thing, listeners, when we usually do it's 9 a.m. here on the West Coast of America when that is out. When View Screen's not going on, all good things record. So on a Sunday morning, I would normally get up, have my coffee, review my notes. Maybe I'm hosting, maybe I'm just participating, but we're going to do all good things and record. When they're doing View Screen, I just have to wake up, have my coffee, and sit on the couch and watch it on my TV. And it's like, oh, I have my Sunday morning time. So thank you.
Is All Good Things going to come back whilst the View Screen is in hiatus?
Absolutely. Yes.
And will we get a View Screen season 3? Has it been renewed, or is we not announcing anything yet?
We are not announcing anything.
Okay. I just thought I'd try.
It's been really hectic. And in fact, Christos, we haven't decided when All Good Things is going to start. I mean, I've got some work to do. My goodness, I got to get things going again.
Life is busy. I mean, I've been thinking I was going to be dropping all these episodes of What's the T-Bev during this hiatus, and I've only gotten one done. I mean,
and it's been 10
one
weeks
thing after another. Yeah. I've traveled more for work this year than I ever have in my career, and when I'm not traveling, you just kind of want to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the silly season is upon us, which does make it hard.
Oh yes. There's always something going on.
And well, we do look forward. If you do have some What's the Tea, Bev, it's one of my favorites. So if there is something, if we've got some stuff coming up, that's exciting.
There is some stuff coming up.
Excellent. And for me as well, so Trexperts Quiz has had a rocky few weeks because we've had some people who have had unforeseen issues, so we haven't been able to bring some episodes to air, but we will be back next week doing a special Generations quiz to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Star Trek Generations, which is really exciting.
Davey, I just listened to your season 2 TOS episode the other day in the car. It was cute because even I knew so I do know season 2 TOS a little pretty well, so I was screaming answers out. So
that was a fun episode. Alex and Sammy are always fun to have on.
They are.
Yeah, that was super fun. And then
and I wanted to say I am, because I've been listening to your past couple of Trexperts quiz. Emily in Paris, just found it. Is it?
I'll link you and Anthony up. You can have a chat about it because the joke is that our trip to Paris was pretty much modeled around season 3 of Emily in Paris. Anthony just watched that and went, I want to go here. Oh, I want to, like, all the restaurants. Like, we spent so much money because we had to eat everywhere that Emily ate.
Love it. Okay.
And listeners and viewers as well, my other show on the BQN, Bargain Bin Gamer, is still going along. I'm actually heading into the studio this afternoon. Mitch and I are interviewing the founders of a group called the Melbourne Gamers, spelled Gaymer, which is a local group for queer gamers that have regular meetups, and that show's been really fun lately. We've kind of pivoted away solely from playing cheap games to focusing on games through a queer lens, which has allowed us to make some really interesting connections. And so we've got some really fun people coming up as guests on that show as a result.
Great. Wow.
So there. All right. Thank you so much, Amy and Christos, for joining us. And we've had Peter and Jez in the chat. Remember, we will be doing more of this to finish recapping patrons, you are welcome to join us in on these chats. So please head over to patreon.com/BQN and keep an eye on your Patreon messages for when we do more Warp Me. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.